by introducing our president, Renee.
Great, thank you, everyone. I will be sharing my desktop. Can you guys see my desktop okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay, awesome. So first of all, for those of you new to Womanly Toastmaster, you can find everything on womanlytm.com. And this is a very safe virtual platform where we hope to provide a safe platform for folks to learn about public speaking and women empowerment and also various different workshops. It is open to both men and women as well. And today's theme is emotional intelligence. And one of my favorite quotes is the emotional brain responds to an event more quickly than the thinking brain. And I know our Toastmasters, Priya, actually has prepared a short segment, so I'll let her get to it in a bit. And here is actually our meeting agenda. I will send it over in the chat window shortly. And as you can see, this is the agenda right here. And now I would like to turn it over to Priya to introduce IFAN.
Thank you, Renee. That is a very great topic to think about for today. Yifang, you're welcome to take the stage and tell us about what you want to share.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Let me share my screen. I heard Shoba said I invited area director and division director. They will come.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I expected that.
Yeah, unless they meet some Zoom issue. Yeah, they confirmed they will come. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you very much for everyone for chattering this awesome club. I'm here to congratulate every one of the charter member. Congratulations. Yay. Now, in your membership application form on page 2, you have read the Toastmasters promise. This is an important paragraph. I want to review this together with you. I will transform it into a question and answer mode. Please unmute yourself and answer my questions. As a member of Toastmasters International and my club, do you promise to attend the club meetings regularly?
Yes.
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 Do you promise to prepare all of my speech and the leadership project to the best of my ability, basing them on Toastmaster projects?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you promise to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments?
Yes.
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 Do you promise to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you promise to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you promise to serve your club as an officer when called upon to do so?
Yes.
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 Do you promise to treat your fellow club members and your guests with respect and courtesy?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Do you promise to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits of Toastmasters membership offers?
Yes.
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 Do you promise to adhere to the guidelines and the rules for all Toastmasters educational and recognition programs?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you promise to maintain honest and highly ethical standards during the conduct of all Toastmaster activities?
Yes.
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 Thank you very much for everyone responding my questions. This paragraph reinforced the positive behavior of being a Toastmasters. It's very important for me. It's very important for all of us to follow it. I encourage you to review it from time to time. Again, congratulations to all the charter members.
Yay. Thank you.
Yay. Yay. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce you our area division district concept. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you, all of you, to District 101 family. District 101 serve clubs from Monterey to Mountain View. This year, we welcome members from all locations. Now, Women Lead belongs to Area D2. In Area D2, there are other 5 clubs. Usually in our district, 5 to 6 clubs consist of one area. 5 to 6 areas consist of one division. Our district has 6 divisions. So immediately you will meet your sister clubs in your area contest. Our club is formalized at club level, area level, division level. Shoba and Abhijit are your club mentors. We assign 2 club mentors to new clubs. Raj is your area director. Raj, could you introduce yourself?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Hello, everyone. This is Raji Murthy. I am the Area D2 Director. And I've been the Area D2 Director since July of 2020. And I'm really happy and glad to have this new club to be a part of my area. Welcome to Area D2.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raj.
Thank you. Welcome, Raji.
Zoom link actually name got changed. Yeah, thank you.
Raj also named Priya.
Yeah.
I send the same link to everyone. Gavin is your division director. Gavin, could you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Division D Director, and I feel very excited to have a new club in our division. The last time I joined our meeting, and after that, I introduced our club to many members from different clubs. I told them this will be one of the best clubs in the whole Bay Area. I just feel really excited to welcome you to Division D family.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gavin. I'm here at the district to serve you as the club growth director. The lady next to me is Shamla Sista. She's our program quality director. Most of your officers have met her at the club officer training. This gentleman next to District 101 is our district director, Webab Singh. Webab, could you introduce yourself? Webab has a conflict. He told me he may be able to step out from another meeting. Looks like he's
not there.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, he sent his congratulations.
Thank
Solosa has the same conflict as Webab. Solosa sent his congratulations to you. I want to tell you, Webab approved the budget to send your club a gift. Guess what is the gift?
What is it?
Yeah, what is it?
A gavel, lectern, or what? Banner?
Yay!
Oh.
It's on the way to Renee's house.
Okay, sounds great. Next time I'll put it in the virtual Zoom environment.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, Renee, I used your address on your Toastmaster profile.
You're good. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right. Yeah. This concluded the charter ceremony. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Yifang, for that wonderful ceremony. I'm sure we all will remember this. I want to go ahead and introduce the role bearers for this meeting.
Bring me a water.
So I would like to invite the R counter to explain your role, Khushbu.
Hello everyone, I'm Khushbu. I am going to be the R counter for this evening tonight.
I'm going to calculate all of your filler words such as like, so, but, and other filler words. I'm going to count all of them in your speeches and your language, and I will be reporting it in the end of the meeting. Thank you.
I would like to invite Abhi, who is the grammarian, to explain his role.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As a grammarian, I'm going to note down the good usage of grammar and not so good usage of grammar. The word of the day today is winsome. Winsome means cheerful, pleasant, and appealing. He has a winsome smile. I'll share at the end my report where who uses the word at the end, and also my grammarian report. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
I would like to invite Sarah, who's the timer, to explain her role.
Hi guys, I'll be timer today. So you will see me switch between a green, yellow, and red background. So for prepared speeches, we have 3 icebreakers today, all within 4 to 6 minutes. So you'll see me switch to green when you hit 4 minutes, and yellow when you are almost at 6, and red when you're passing 6 minutes. And you have a 30-second grace period before and after the required time. Table topics is 1 to 2 minutes, and evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
I would like to invite Lakshmi to give us the leader profile of the day.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. When I realized that emotional intelligence was the theme of today's meeting, I started thinking, who is the person that I know of exhibiting this trait? The first person's name that came into my mind was that of Mrs. Sunny Shin. She is at present working as the Director of Prevention and Intervention, Irvine Unified School District. She is skilled in personal management, staff development, educational and organizational leadership, social, emotional learning, to name a few. I knew her when she was the principal at Irvine School called Springbrook Elementary. She is an able and firm leader, yet very understanding, always willing to join in your happiness and sorrow. A teacher's pet was killed by a coyote. Miss Shen came to the staff room and gave the teacher a hug. The hug said it all. A job well done by anyone was always praised. She considered everyone in the school to be a part of her family. Her little gifts, personal greeting cards with family photo, showed that she valued us. Mornings, you'll see her outside the school greeting parents and children. When talking to the children, she would become a kid. Share their enthusiasm, listen to all the hardships a 6-year-old has to go through in his or her life. Empathize with them and try giving some solutions to their humongous problems. She is a leader who leads by walking the talk. Her openness, accepting others' point of view, and working along with everyone made us all work towards just the betterment of the school and all-round development of the students with no ego. So that was Miss Shen for all of you.
Thank you, Lakshmi, for that wonderful leader profile. Let's go to the speech segment. I would like to invite our speaker 1, Sujin. She is going to give her icebreaker speech from the Pathway Motivational Strategies. And the topic of her speech is what I learned after letting go of my plan. Sujin, what I learned after letting go of my plan. Sujin.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Since COVID-19, it has been quite challenging to keep my 5-year-old daughter busy at home. I ordered a big set of Lego blocks, and soon it became our routine to play Lego together after dinner. After not touching those blocks for 30 years, I got so excited about creating animals, flowers, and buildings, following the instructions from the box and online. While my 5-year-old daughter just creating whatever she wanted to try. Sometimes the pieces I needed were missing or in use for my daughter's work. That constraint made me so uncomfortable because it was so hard for me to see the unfinished and incomplete, imperfect work that I created. So I tried to steal some pieces from her. Hey, can I take this orange block from yours to make a carrot for my reindeer? No, Mom, you cannot touch this. Okay. After many unsuccessful tries, I gave up. So I need to find other ways. So I used the same color with a different shape or different color with the same shape. Surprisingly, I realized that having those tweaks was much more fun and sometimes gave me better results. So I started to go with my flow and create a new, unique, and something personal for my family, like the rose garden that we visited together. Letting go of my plan and being flexible about what is supposed to be allowed me to think creatively and learn it is good and even better when the end result is different from what I initially planned. Looking back, I realized that many great things in my life happened without any plan. In 2012, the company I worked for 8 years sponsored my MBA education, so I came to US with great excitement about my future career. My plan was to go back to the company in Korea after graduation and continue to climb up the corporate ladder. I was confident that I would be successful at the company and then would be in an executive role in the future. Then things changed. I got a return offer from a Silicon Valley company where I did a summer intern. Many people congratulated me, but I was worried. Giving up my perfect plan seemed too risky. Will I be successful here even though I don't speak perfect English? What about my working visa, my family? After many sleepless nights and with the encouragement from my husband, I decided to embrace the uncertainty in my career and started a new plan in the US. Honestly, it has been a bumpy road. Luckily, I adapted gradually to the new environment. The struggles and disadvantage that I had pushed me hard to be more efficient and more organized and focus on key things that I really care about. Now I'm grateful for the career path ahead of me. And I found the passion in mentoring women for their career challenges through a nonprofit organization. So when you need to let go of your plan sometime in your life, don't afraid it too much. It may lead you to somewhere you never imagined before, but it could be still good or even better. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Let's take a 1 minute of silence and fill her evaluation. The link is in the chat.
One minute is up.
Thank you. Let's go to the next speaker. Our next speaker is Sashi, who is talking about East to West, and she is talking from the pathway innovative planning level 1, and it's an icebreaker speech. East to West, Sashi.
Thank you, Toastmaster. East to West. This is a story about me switching my careers from East to West, not just on the world map, but it's between two different worlds. One world is filled with hospitals, patients, diseases, and treatments, and another world is filled with computer screens, keyboard, artificial intelligence, and alien languages. So a few years ago, I just came back from my dental clinic and I went to my dad and I said, I want to switch my career. I saw this expression in my dad that I have never seen in my life. It was a combination of shock and surprise. Because I have spent 10 years to become a dentist and to settle on as a dentist and start a clinic and everything. And now I want to change my career. He just asked me, to what? What are your plans? I told him, I'm planning to do IT or computer science. I haven't decided it, but either one of them. Yeah, so that day I just finished my dinner. There was pretty much awkward silence in the house. I went back to my room. I couldn't sleep for a whole night. I'm pretty sure even my dad wouldn't have slept for that night because he paid like a lot of fees for me for the whole 10 years. And then after that, I just did like a year of research to see where I need to go, to find out my pathway, searching around. And then I started my journey to US to do my master's in information systems. And I started my first course with basic Java. It's like a prerequisite given to all non-IT people, like mechanical engineers and electrical engineers and everyone, not for a dentist though. So yeah, I just started my class and I used to attend every class, and even after the classes, I used to sit for extra time to understand everything. But exam by exam, my grades started deteriorating and I finally got a D. So I failed. On top of it, I sold my hospital too. I cannot go back. So I don't have any plan. I just ran back home. I went to my room, closed my door, I sat in the dark room. I started crying like a teenager who just got bullied from her school. And the whole day went on. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't do anything. And it was day 2. Even day 2, I was crying more than day 1. And I had this all thoughts coming in my mind. Did I just experiment with my life? What did I do? I just experimented everything. I just sold off my hospital and I used that money to travel to US. So yeah, all these things were running in my mind, and it was day 3. I just came out of the room. I think I was just bored and I couldn't stay inside the depression for a longer time. So I just came out of the room and I gathered my courage and I planned a plan to how to sort of this Java. Then I realized I was habituated to memorizing things so much that I started memorizing even lines and lines of code. Anyways, I shouldn't blame myself because no dentist will pull out teeth using complex logical extraction techniques. So that's the reason. I just I realized what I was doing. So next I started using complex logical techniques from my 10th standard to inter to undergraduation, where people learn, which is different from BDS, I mean dentistry. And I started learning everything. And to my surprise and everybody's surprise, I got straight A's until my course was done. And I landed up in a job, really a good job. And it was a combination of both healthcare and IT. So this is my story from east to west. And this is how I combine both the worlds together. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you for that winsome speech. Our next speaker, let's take a 1 minute of silence for giving Shashi her evaluation. Please use the same link in the chat.
One minute is up.
Thank you, timer. Our third speech is by Mayana, and her pathway is Persuasive Influence, Level 1. It's an icebreaker speech, and she highlights her journey of her mom coming from a different country to the US and how perseverance has helped her to get through to lead a successful life in the US. To you, Myrna. You're on mute, Myrna.
Thank you, Madame Toastmaster. This is my mom. My mom was born in Naguabo, Puerto Rico. Have you ever been to Puerto Rico? This is Puerto Rico. It is an island in the Caribbean. It is next to the Dominican Republic and Cuba. This is the town where my mom is from. My mom grew up in a farm in 1926. Her grandparents were very prominent sugarcane owners, plantation owners. They grew tobacco, they grew coffee, they grew sugarcane, and they even had cattle. They were very prominent, and you might even say that they were rich and wealthy. So my mom back then in 1926 came from a wealthy family. My mom was so happy working in the farm with her grandparents. She was a farm girl, and she used to love helping out her grandmother in the farm. My mom carried water on a pot on her head. My mom helped her grandmother grind coffee in la cafetera. My mom even helped make food for the sugarcane workers using grinding the spices in the pilon. She was a happy girl. But then tragedy hits. In 1936, my mom is only 10 years old, and her mom dies bleeding to death. She was having a child, and the child was born stillborn. My mom becomes an orphan. The following year is 1937, and my mom is only 11 years old. And her older brother, who's only 17, commits suicide. He hangs himself from a mango tree. It was because his girlfriend broke up with him. But other people in the town say that he got drunk from drinking too much rum. My mom was so sad and devastated, losing her brother and her mother at that young age. In 1898, the United States takes over Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico becomes a territory and a colony of the United States. Domino Sugar comes in and invests in the sugarcane industry, and they make billions of dollars from sugarcane in Puerto Rico. And they pay the workers very little money. A sugarcane worker makes about 90 cents a day. A tobacco worker makes about 32 cents a day. And a woman in the garment industry, she only makes 2 cents per hour. Can you imagine that? Well, the money that the corporation made, the four corporations, the sugar corporations, there were large profits and billions of dollars, but they didn't leave it in the island. They didn't create jobs. They took the money out. They were absentee owners. By this time in the 1940s, the people of Puerto Rico are suffering. There's starvation, there's illness, and many people don't have jobs. Even my mother's grandparents began losing their land because their lands were expropriated by the American government. In 1947, Puerto Ricans begin to think that they should go to the promised land. New York City is the promised land. New York City is a glamorous city, the land of opportunity, freedom, and equity. Everybody starts thinking that they could become rich in New York City. In 1947, my mom wants to become a famous singer. She also wants to be famous. She had a beautiful voice, and that was her dream. In 1947, 40,000 Puerto Ricans get to New York. And in New York, they go searching for jobs. In 1950, my mom meets my dad, a soldier from the Korean War, and she's very much in love with him. But guess what happens? In 1970, they go back to Puerto Rico. My mom inherited a piece of land in Puerto Rico, and her dream is to build a house for her children. That is her promised land. But my dad falls in love with another woman, and he leaves my mom, and he sells her land, and he tells her to go back to New York City with her children. 5 children. My mom goes to New York City. She becomes a single mom in the 1970s in the South Bronx, New York City. What is she to do? She has no money, no skills, and no English. My mom, though, she had one thing. She had resilience. And my mom never gives up on us. My mom goes and gets welfare, and she applies for food stamps. My mom begins singing in the streets to make money. My mom stands in long lines asking for bread and cheese and milk for free from the government. My mom does everything in her power for her children. And that's what we call resilience. This is my mom today. My mom is 94 years old. And what did we learn from my mom? Resilience. That is the promised land, and it's inside herself. My mom has resilience. She's the epitome of resilience. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. I would request everybody to fill their evaluation, and timer, please give us 1 minute.
One minute is up.
Thank you, timer. I would now like to call upon Shannon to take us on a ride of table topics.
Great. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. My role today will be to introduce a topic, call on speakers who will then have 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes, between 1 and 2, to speak on a topic. So for the topic today, I chose emotional intelligence, the topic for the week. And to give a quick background, one of the ways to define emotional intelligence is the ability to perceive emotions, use emotions, understand emotions, and manage emotions. So the first, okay, oh, it looks like I'm getting a message. Okay, perfect. So I plan to first call on someone in the club, and then I will call on 2 guests. So the first question, Samantha, I'm going to ask this one to you. So one aspect of emotional intelligence is perceiving emotions in others. How has your ability to observe emotions been affected by remote work meetings such as Toastmasters? Samantha.
Thank you. One of the ways that I have been affected by COVID when dealing with work is when sending messages. I think they call it like women, how women specifically send messages. We will put exclamation marks, send please, thank you, make it so we're not being pushy or anything. And I have noticed other women and myself doing this. And it feels like it's emotional intelligence, like we aren't sure how we're being perceived online, and we want to make sure that we're not being too pushy. So I always have to try and tone down the exclamation marks and the please and thank you to be more appropriate for work, because it's just not necessary in a work setting. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Samantha. So next, I would like to call on our guest, Wabi. Are you okay to be called on? I believe that's you. Okay, great. So your question is, can you please tell us about a time where using emotional intelligence helped you achieve a desired outcome?
Thank you for that question, Table Topic Master. How has my emotional intelligence helped me achieve a desired outcome? It is a big challenge. I am a kindergarten teacher, so I believe my emotional ability and level is basically kindergarten. And my husband is having a hard time dealing with the kindergarten in the house who doesn't approve of rules and standards. Everything is fine, just like just like Sujin's kid, So I am learning a lot, but when I am the teacher, I have to be the adult. So I have learned with Toastmasters and how to communicate. Although I do have the emotional level of a kindergarten kid, my ability to communicate should be better than my emotional intelligence. So somehow I learned how to ask questions better and how to actively listen to the children. I also learned how to observe body language. So even though they are saying something different, but if the body language is a little bit and not in the same way as what they're saying, so I should be more attentive to that. So I have used all the things that I have learned from Toastmasters and from all the books and speeches that I've heard in Toastmasters, how to become a better teacher and how to express myself and listen to my students. So I think it might not be emotionally better, but I've become a better teacher because of Toastmasters. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Great. Thank you so much. And I think as someone mentioned in the chat, there will be a vote after the table topics, and it looks like we have time for at least one more. So Gavin, I would like to ask you. Perfect. So who is a leader that you admire for their emotional intelligence and why?
My mom, absolutely my mom, because of her resilience. For years, I was wondering why she can overcome so many difficulties. Here, the difficulties, I mean, she can always forgive any people under any situation. And sometimes I just felt confused. But as I get older and older, I'm at my beginning of 30s, I realized that this is a really, really powerful emotional intelligence that can connect each of us together, the relatives, the friends, the extended family tree. It's her that all of us just live in a really, really happy life. I think he just set an example for me how to conduct, how to behave in any situation, especially when the situation is kind of contentious and you think, I won't forgive this kind of behavior, but my mom, she can forgive these situations. Yes, still, I'm trying to figure out the factors that can help her to be so resilient in through so many changes. Maybe because of her belief system. When I was very young, before 5 years old, every weekend she just brought me to a church every weekend. And I believe that's part of my mom's spirit wealth that has shaped her belief system. And that's also the part of my belief system. And now still, she had more and more impact on my emotional or emotional intelligence and humanities. I feel really lucky. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Great, thank you so much. So I have time for at least one more. Leslie, I would like to call on you. Great. So Leslie, looking back on your life, Can you identify an area where you have improved your emotional intelligence?
Identify an area. Well, when I was younger, I actually had a very bad temper, and I would, get really upset about something and start yelling. That was partly because the way I was raised, there was a lot of yelling in my house. And I think that I alienated a lot of people by that. And so I basically had to learn to be calm and to try to address the situation with logic. And also one of the things I learned is to lower my voice so that I would speak quietly instead of yelling. And then that would often then cause the other person to lower their voice, and it would get us both back on sort of a calm footing. And when I look back on it, I can't believe that I used to be so angry, because I'm now known for being very, very calm and even keeled. So I managed to make a successful change. That's it.
Awesome. And
We can have
Toastmaster,
one more. We can
one
have
more.
one more. Yeah.
Okay. Daniel, I would like to ask you.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay, great. So why or why not is emotional intelligence important in the workplace?
Why or why not emotional intelligence is important in the workplace? I believe emotional intelligence is important in any subject, especially in the workplace, because it really determines how you will respond to a situation and how you will say something to somebody if you're working together with somebody. Good example that I have recently is that I had a salesperson who has been holding this material inventory spaces for about a good month. And we have another client who is from a national client who wants to buy the same inventory. I tried to explain the situation and saying, hey, can you give me some proof that the client is interested in buying this material? And without telling him what was going on or why I was asking him, it raised the tension a little higher, which is never a good sign, especially if you're both working together. But I decided to actually give him a call and sit down with him and talk to him about the whole situation, explain to him that it's not that I'm rushing you, it's that there's some other client who's interested in your space, which I know that if we go to our bosses, they will give it to the national client since they are a big, more well-known, respected clientele. So what I'm trying to do for us to work together and see if we can grab some proof to say, hey, this is what they're interested. They will buy. All it is, it will take a little bit more time. And being that I am willing to work with your client because they have been with us since the beginning of COVID, I do not want to lose them or send any disrespect their way. And he understood it immediately. We both were working together to work on it. We reached out to our contact at the third party, and they were like, thank you for calling in, thank you for explaining the situation. And immediately we were starting to get answers immediately. We were able to smooth things over and move forward. And right now we're still dealing with some of the ramifications of it, but I'm glad we kept the client that has been with us since 2020 when the whole lockdown happened. And that's what I believe, emotional intelligence is important.
Great, thank you so much. Thanks for all of our table topics participants, and I'll pass it back over to you, Priya, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you for taking us on a very interesting ride. We have the voting form posted in the chat. If we can take 1 minute of silence to vote for the best table topics master, that'll be great. I would now like to call upon the general evaluator. The general evaluator is Shobha. So Shobha, can you call upon the evaluators for the speeches?
Thank you, Priya. So as the general evaluator, my job is to conduct the evaluation session. So I will be calling upon the evaluators to evaluate the session, followed by reports from all the role bearers rather. Now, we heard 3 excellent icebreaker speeches, winsome icebreaker speeches, if I could say so. One talked about resilience from Mirna, and one talked about letting it go by Sujin, and Sashi, who talked about her courageous path from east to west. To evaluate these speeches, I'm going to have 3 very good evaluators who we have here today. And since we are talking about emotional intelligence today, just want to say, a key for good evaluation is not to hurt the self-esteem of the speaker. And I think in all of Toastmasters, evaluation is one role where you have to really use your emotional intelligence, because it's all about being self-aware of what you're saying, being empathetic, and being motivating, which exactly defines emotional intelligence. So now, to use their emotional quotient, and let's test the emotional quotient of the evaluators we have today. To evaluate Sujin's speech of what I learned after letting go of my plan, let us welcome Renee, our president.
Thank you, Shobha. Sujin, I really love the message that you deliver, embrace the uncertainty in your speech. And you open up like a book in front of us and share with us your personal story. And I truly, sincerely appreciate it. We get a better sense of who you are as a person overall. And there are many great things about your speech. The top 3 things that I really love, the first one, of course, is your personal story, where you share with us that you have a 5-year-old and your MBA journey to eventually your job situation. Through all of the tiny snippets of your life, we got to know you as a person overall. So thanks for sharing with us your vulnerability, your ups and downs in your life in such a short amount of time. And the second part is your virtual Zoom setup has already gone to a place where I think many of the advanced speakers sometimes are still trying to work on. You have the one fist above your head and you stayed right in the center of the screen, and there's not too much noisy stuff in the background, and your eye contact, actually, I can tell when you memorize your speech really well, you look right into the camera. And so all of those were really good parts. The third thing about your speech that was really well done was actually your vocal variety, especially through the dialogue with your kids. And I thought your vocal variety was very good and encourage you to continue to use that throughout your speech more, and not just one part of the dialogue with your kids. In terms of some recommendation, I would just encourage you to practice more. How I practice actually is a couple things. One, I will try to memorize the script, and then I'll repeat it in the shower, repeat it when I'm on a walk, repeat it as often as I could. And then I will separate each paragraph one on its own and memorize one paragraph at a time. And I will look at myself in the mirror because I'm really awkward in front of the mirror when I look at myself. And once you get used to that, some of the nervousness will really subside. And last but not least is to record yourself and watch yourself in the video, and you get to learn a lot more about your body language and gesture and how to improve that over time. So in summary, some of the best parts about your speech, your personal story, vocal variety, and also virtual Zoom setup. And in terms of recommendation, try to practice more. And I share 4 tips for you to potentially practice more. And this way you can decrease the nervousness next time. But overall, I thought it was a really wonderful speech. And it's your first speech, which is the hardest speech. I can't wait for your second speech and get to know you even better. Thank you, Sujin.
Thank you, Renee. Our second speech was by Sashi on her East to West travel. To evaluate Sashi's speech, we have Karen, who is another very seasoned Toastmaster. Let's welcome Karen.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Sashi. I love Icebreakers. They tell us so much about our brand new members. I'm going to go through some things that you did fabulous. And buried in there, I'm going to leave a few tips, not just for you, but also for our other Toastmasters. Because the cool thing about evaluations is you don't have to make all the mistakes and errors yourself. You can let other people make them and learn without doing them yourself, which I think is part of the best part, right? It's just picking which ones you're going to do, right? So hand emotions. You were fabulous. You came out of the gate with great hand emotions and movements. Many new speakers kind of freeze, and you did not freeze, and great facial expressions. You had the most natural style and a wonderful smile on your face. The second part I thought that you did really, really well was you talked about emotions. This was not a winsome speech where everything was peachy keen and wonderful. This was a speech where you went from highs to lows to highs to lows and lows and lows. So talking about those emotions is a very important way of connecting speakers to your audience. Sorry. When you do this, one of the emotions that you talked about is that awkward silence with your dad. You know, once I'd said, I'm not going to do this anymore. You said, I'm not going to do this anymore. And he was obviously freaked out. And then there was that awkward silence. Leave that silence. Don't just tell me about it. Leave it, because people, you know, they really start to listen there. So silence is a very important part of speaking. It's not just not speaking. You connected really well with your audience because you were very vulnerable. You let out all these emotions, and that was really good, because that's the second way you really connect with your audience is when you're vulnerable. People feel your emotions. There's a couple of things you could do better on the emotional side. You talked about, it's just amazing. You talked about losing your hospital, you know, your dad's emotions, and switching to a new career, but you had a beautiful smile on your face. So next time, let those emotions leak through your face, okay? I mean, when you're stressed, it's okay to do this. People know that you're really strongly stressed then. So show that on your face and then come back to your beautiful smile. And finally, I loved your title. The art of titles in speeches is hard, east to west, and you gave us a very brief description of why that's important. Absolutely fabulous icebreaker. I totally loved it. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Karen. Our third speech was by Mirna, and it was such an inspirational speech about resilience and her mom. Thank you for that, Mirna. To evaluate Mirna's speech, we have Madhu. I think this is her first time evaluating, if I'm not, memory serves me right. Let's welcome Madhu to evaluate Mirna's speech.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. It's really hard to top Karen's winsome evaluation. I will do my best, considering it's my first one. Mirna, I was very touched by your speech. The story about your mother is so great, so emotional, and such a different story from what I've heard before. I could hear the pride and the love you have for your mom in that story, and that's something I could really relate to. So thank you for sharing that story, and I'm sure a lot of us thought about our moms when you shared your story. There were some very memorable moments in your speech. No money, no skills, no English. 6 words. That's all it took for us to imagine how your mom must have felt when she was in New York City with 5 kids as a single mom. Those are 6 very effective words. And I should applaud you for using that so well at that point in your speech, because you have a limited amount of time, and using time that way was very good, very effective. Another thing, of course, which I'm sure everybody noticed, was your use of props, right? They were very catchy. They made me smile, they got me hooked, and they kind of prepared me for the emotional journey you were going to take me on, right? You set the background very well, showing the grinder, stone, and it took us back to how it would have been in Puerto Rico. And that is very good setting of the stage, so to say, right? So that was very good. If I had to ask you to improve on something, one of that would be pace, because I felt you could have gone a little slower. I understand that you have a lot to say, and we also want to hear the whole story, but it helps to focus on one part of it and go slower when you give your speech. So next time, maybe a little slower, a few more pauses while you speak helps us kind of, wait and think and absorb the information you're giving us. So that would be one thing I would point out. But for me, the best part of your speech, and the thing that I will kind of keep in my mind, right, is the promised land was inside herself. What a line. What a line. I'm going to carry that with me. So thank you for sharing that. That was a very, very good line. And so to summarize, great speech. I cannot believe this was an icebreaker speech. It was really, really well prepared. And to summarize, great content, great use of props. And one thing you can improve on was pace. Thank you, Myrna. I think we all know you a little better today.
Thank you, Madhu. All the 3 evaluators did a great job. Icebreakers, even for me, my personal favorite in Toastmasters is listening to icebreaker speeches, because we really get to know the person very well. But at the same time, evaluating an icebreaker has to be equally good, because it's not that easy, since that for the Toastmaster, it's the first speech, and you cannot be critical about vocal variety, body language, all the shenanigans that we usually have with Toastmasters, because it's their first speech. And I think Renee, Karen, and Madhu hit it right on the spot today by giving evaluations and feedbacks for improvement, just right, apt for an icebreaker. And Madhu, for a first-time evaluator, awesome job. I think you really nailed it. Maybe you have already seen some videos or your practice, whatever it was, or it's natural to you. It was good. Thank you. Before I give my input for the whole meeting, let me call upon the role bearers and get their reports. Timer, Sarah, can you give the report for the speeches and evaluations?
Sure. So for the prepared speeches, all the icebreakers qualified. Sujin was 4 minutes, 50 seconds. Sashi, 5 minutes, 19 seconds. Mirna, 5 minutes, 44 seconds. Table topics. Samantha, I apologize, I started the time a little bit late, but I think you were just under a minute. Itaewon, 1 minute, 50 seconds. Gavin, 2 minutes, 38 seconds. Leslie, 1 minute, 6 seconds. Daniel, 2 minutes, 17 seconds. And then our evaluators, Renee was 2 minutes, 52 seconds. Karen, 3 minutes, 20 seconds. And Madhu, 3 minutes, 17 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Our counter for today was Kushbu.
Yes. Hello, everyone. So for Sarah, it was 5 hours, 2 arms. Sujin, 1 1 2 tongue clicks and 1 N. Sashi, 2 R's, 1 for like or yeah. 6 so, 7 and 2 tongue clicks. Shannon, 2 3 so, 1 and 1 tongue click. Wabby, 3 R's, 1 4 so. Gavin, 3 Leslie, 1 Daniel, 1 Shobha, 4 3 and 1 Madhu, 6 and 2 That's it.
Thank you, Kushbu.
Over to you.
Our grammarian is Abhijit.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. These are the people who use the word of the day: Priya, Shobha, Karen, and Madhu. I noted down the phrases which all the speakers used, and some of them were very catchy, especially the title from Sujin, Embrace the Uncertainty. Shashi used alliteration, shock, and surprise. I enjoyed the repetition she had. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. One sentence in her speech stood out. No dentist will pull the teeth out without complex logical language or complex logical thinking. Myrna, you had some great stuff like Madhu was pointing out. It's very hard to tell stories in 6 words. We had a workshop, how to tell stories in 6 words, and you did that really well. No money, no English, no skills. One phrase, epitome of resilience, stood out for me. Vabi, one correction for you. Kindergartner in the house. You said kindergarten in the house. Leslie, one phrase stood out for me was address it with logic. Renee, tiny snippets. Karen, one sentence stood out for me. Silence is the part of speaking. That's all for me. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Abhijit. Now for my evaluation of the whole meeting with regards to timing, I think they did a good job. Yes, it's still 8:08 right on dot. And I should give special kudos to Renee and Yifang also, who did the whole ceremony in the exact time that she was allocated. A few things that I just want to talk about would be the Toastmaster. Priya, I'm assuming this is your first time as Toastmaster. So when you call upon the speakers, you introduce the speaker, and before that you call upon the evaluator who actually introduces about the speech, the pathways and the project. So I saw that you told everything about the speech. You said what the pathways was, everything, and then introduce the speaker. So you have to give that role to the evaluator. And I'm happy that we have introduced table topics voting process, ballot, so that is good. Just a quick thought. If we are introducing ballots, then good to get the timer report before the ballots. So I think the way we had it done so far was getting the timer report in the end. So then you will know if there are any disqualifications, which would ensure that people get the voting right. So those are a couple of things that you can incorporate. But all in all, a great meeting, excellent speeches, excellent evaluations. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. Back to you, Priya.
Thank you, Shobha, and thank you for the great speeches. Thank you for the evaluators, and thank you for all the guests for joining us in the table topics. We appreciate it. And the table topics master, the person who won, is, drumroll, is Leslie. Thank you, Leslie. Back to you, Renee.
Can you guys see my screen okay? Yeah, I can't see you guys anymore. Let me find you guys on my screen. Okay, great. All right. I always like to end with a quote. Emotional intelligence is a way of recognizing, understanding, and choosing how we think, feel, and act. It shapes our interactions with others and our understanding of ourselves. It defines how and what we learn. It allows us to set priorities. It determines the majority of our daily actions. Research suggests it is responsible for as much as 80% of the success in our lives. I'll leave you with that, and we'll go into announcements. Lots of great announcements today. So first of all, I want to thank our new VP of PR, Khushbu, for putting together a great virtual background. As many of you guys already seen, some of them actually here, our members are already using it. So here is actually our Google Drive where our virtual backgrounds are. And I want to thank Abhijit, our VP of Education, for putting together the speech time slots. So please feel free to go in here and select your time slots preference all the way up to September. This way he will make sure that you want to speak maybe 2 or 3 times a quarter. Those are properly allocated. And of course, here at our regular meeting is where you shine. But when you train, we have put together a long list of workshops for you all. So next weekend, next Friday, Abhijit actually invited, what's his name again? I can't even find it.
Dan Whedon.
Dan, there you go. On a whole podcast. So for those of you who want to learn how to do the best podcast, in fact, Toastmaster have a podcast as one of the projects. Feel free to join this workshop specifically that's hosted by Abhijit for a very international group of audience, not just for Women Lead, to learn a little bit more about podcasts. And of course, our own Women Leads have the pop-up workshop for March, which is how to overcome self-doubt of imposter syndrome. And a lot of the meetings are listed on our meeting webpage. And for me, I will be putting a workshop together on how to get the most out of a mentorship on March 12th, which is a Friday. Many of you guys are assigned a mentor. If not, Abhijit is in the process of assigning you a specific mentor. And raise your hand if you haven't gotten a mentor yet. And I hope to share with you guys some of the best tips on getting the most out of your mentorship. And our next regular meeting is on March 17th, and the meeting theme is motivation. And the most exciting thing of the month, happy virtual happy hour. So we hope to really get to know you guys a little bit better since we can't meet in person. I hope all of you guys can join us at our virtual happy hour. We'll play some board games, ask you a little bit about how we can improve and better serve you guys, and we can share with each other more about ourselves and hope to really be friends with each other. And of course, as Khushbu like to remind me to all of you guys, please join all of our social channels because that's how we keep you posted. Whatever is your preference, our LinkedIn group, Twitter, Facebook, on Slack, join us. We'll make sure you get the best out of this entire experience. Khushbu and I are also updating our webpage. You probably saw that she actually directly reached out to all of you guys, hope to get a one-on-one meeting and get a testimonial. If you're shy, if you're not the one-on-one type, all good. We understand people are all different. Feel free to send out a little message in this Google form and just let us know your thoughts and how we can best support you. And last but not least, I want to actually turn it to our guests for tonight and share with us your feedback. Do we still have any guests left? Daniel, Leslie?
I'm still here.
Great. Do you guys want to say a few words about the meeting?
You guys are pretty amazing. I mean, for these brand new club to have your charter already and to have everything just so organized, and it's very, very impressive. And I love listening to all of the icebreaker speeches. That's always a really nice treat. So I enjoyed being here as usual, and thank you for the topics win. That was very nice. A little icing on the cake. And I will try to join you again next time.
Thank you, Leslie. Welcome. Thank you. Any other guests would like to say a few words?
How about Raji, our area director?
This is my first time attending this Toastmaster Club's meeting, and you guys are doing such a fabulous job of being newly chartered. So really glad to have you on board in Area D2, and I'm looking forward to coming and attending and learning a lot more things. And I really felt listening to the speeches, there was something really from the heart, and everybody shared and put out their vulnerabilities, which is really rare to see, but really heartwarming such that we can all connect with them at a personal level and how people learn so much from each other. So I think you guys are doing a great job. Glad to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you. Gavin, any words from you?
Okay, sure. So far, I'm a member of 16 clubs, and there's one sure thing. I will promote our club in all my 16 clubs.
Oh.
Instead of just introducing our club to 3 or 5 clubs, and even beyond these 16 clubs, because I believe our club will be an example for how to organize a really high quality online meeting. And many clubs, even though some clubs have a long history, they can learn something from you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, we do want to end on time. The officers will stay behind, and we are 2 minutes over. So thank you all the guests for chiming in. For those who didn't get a chance yet, feel free to stay behind and let us know. We'll stay behind, but for the rest of you all, thank you. And I will officially adjourn the meeting and keep practicing emotional intelligence. Thank you. Bye, good night.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Bye.
Another meeting.
Yes, yes,
I'm gonna
yes.
stop recording now.